Aloha. Let's talk about information. Information is really tricky to nail down and define. And actually, philosophers have been debating over the nature of information for centuries. So we kind of have to accept some realistic, practical definitions and leave all the debating to the philosophers. So, in the context of this course, you can think of information as a structured form of data. Okay. Data, according to our textbook, we consider to be facts or items of information, bits. Okay. Your age may be a point of data, or your height may be a point of data. Your grade in this course may be a point of data. When we do something with multiple points of data, such that we aggregate them, we compare them, we sum them up, we calculate your grade point average, we are generating information. So if you think in terms of data and information as existing along a continuum or along a line, and on one end we have very unstructured, isolated pieces of information. And as we move further across on this line, all of these pieces of information are getting organized into a place that we can actually make sense out of all of it. And as we move along this line, we are creating information. Okay, so I may take all of the ages of the students in a given class, and as I take them all and I sum them all up and I create the sum total of ages, I may have what you may consider a piece of information, albeit not very useful. And then I can take the average of that with another piece of information or piece of data, which is the number of students in the class, and I've created a piece of information called the average age of my class. I can also take that and look at each of my classes over all the semesters that I teach and identify a trend. Maybe my students are gradually getting older over time, or my students are getting younger over time. I can look at demographic makeup of my students. Each of these may help me to answer certain questions or guide my practice as an educator. Okay, so information, that brings us to another point, is so we're doing something with multiple pieces of data to answer questions so that we can do something with it. Okay, so it's data structured in a way that's meaningful, that makes some sort of difference for what I'm trying to do. Now, your textbook talks about different characteristics of what we call good information. Okay, and these are that information should be accurate, timely, relevant, just barely sufficient, and worth its cost. Accurate information is information that is um, correct or precise to the degree that we need it for this situation. Okay? So if I have incorrect information, then it's not very accurate. If you have a spreadsheet that has incorrect formulas in it, so it's always giving you the wrong total, the wrong average for your budget, it's not going to work very well. Information needs to be accurate if it's to be trusted and relied upon and reused. Okay, second, information needs to be timely. Now, timely can mean different things according to the context in which this information is used. Timely may mean before I need to make a decision on using this information. Okay, but that time frame could be I need this up to date as of this minute. I need to know what people are doing right now, or I need to know what people have done within the last up to say the last day, and I don't need to know exactly what they're doing right now. Okay, so examples of needing real-time information. If you're an air traffic controller, you need immediate real-time information, and you need a system that tells you exactly where the airplanes are in the sky around your airport. If you're trying to anticipate which road to take downtown, um, and you get a report on the news of what the traffic conditions were, say 10, 15, 30 minutes ago, that may be sufficiently timely for your context. Okay? Relevant. Information is really not information if it's not relevant to you. Otherwise, it's just noise, or it could just be considered as data. Okay? It needs to be relevant to the context of your decision making and relevant to the subject at hand. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out how much money you have coming in from your financial aid, and I come in and tell you it's 32 degrees outside, that may be a novel piece of data or information, but it's not really relevant to what you're trying to do. Okay. Next, information needs to be just barely sufficient. Okay. Information is expensive both to acquire and to consume or process and integrate into what you're doing. So you need information that's just enough for what you have. You may not need the level of detail that could be possible. Okay, so you may need just a rough sampling of opinions about a new product you're going to launch. You don't need to get a census or ask every single one of your customers. That would be overwhelming. Okay, so you need it just sufficient to what you need to make sure that the cost of that information does not outweigh the benefits of it. And that leads to the last one, is it needs to be worth its cost. So the proper level of detail, the proper level of precision, just sufficient, and then related to so that it can be worth its cost. Okay, so the amount of accuracy that you need. Okay, if I ask you what's the temperature outside, you may not be precisely accurate, but you could be fairly close. Okay, how timely is it? Do I need to know exactly how hot it is outside right now, or how hot was it 30 minutes ago, an hour ago? Okay, relevant. Is the weather that I need, is this relevant to my decision making? Am I trying to assess what the weather's like so I can go to the beach, or so I can travel home? Is it just sufficient? Do I have too much information? Not enough information? I need just enough information for my decision making. And is it worth the cost that I can afford to invest in it so that I can produce or acquire this information and use it?